Hi guys! So I wanted to put together this video for a little while and it's been hard to sort of work out how to say it. I think part of it is not really wanting to admit to what I want to talk to you about, but I'm going to anyway. So today I want to talk to you about how I had to become a bad person to get to the life I wanted and why I think you should too. And I think a lot of us are really trying to be good people, trying to do the right thing. I definitely think there's people out there who have less of a moral compass. There definitely are. But most of us are trying to do the right thing, and our efforts to try and do the right thing are some of the things that make us feel really stressed and that are really harder for us. And it can be really hard to accept decisions we've made in the past and try to move into a better space in the future. So I have always wanted to be a really ethical person. I've wanted to try and do things as environmentally as possible. I want to reuse and repurpose and recycle as much as possible. And where this becomes a real sticking point is decluttering. So a lot of us have things in the house that we really, really need to get rid of. But the thing that holds us up from getting rid of them is the idea that if they go into landfill, that's wasteful. So we must find them all a good home. And for a long time, this was something that really stuck with me too. And in the last 18 months, this is something that's been a real challenge. So while we've been in this lockdown and coronavirus crisis, our ability to pass things on to other people has been severely limited. We're not allowed contact with people to donate. We're not even allowed to advertise online to give to people. Charity shops have been shut down because they can't accept donations. And the limited times they've been open, they've been fairly overwhelmed. But what most of us have done in this last 18 months is sat in our houses surrounded by everything and realized that we don't need or even want quite a lot of this stuff. Excuse me, I've just got to turn my alarm off there. So what do you do with all this stuff when you can't pass it on? Well, I have tried as many creative ways as I can during this pandemic to get rid of things. But one of the big issues we had was we were moving house, but slowly I moved into a new place. And then 5 months later, my partner moved in with me, which meant for a little while we had our previous house with stuff in it and our new house with stuff in it. And between the two, we really had too much stuff, but we needed things at both houses. So push came to shove when we finally had to move in together. And we had a lot of stuff. And we had about 2 weeks to get rid of it with no ability to pass it on, to advertise it, to have it collected, to give it to charity. I did try calling a couple of places that normally collect, and they were just inundated and weren't able to do so. So what do you do? And what I did mostly was I took any of the larger stuff that I had, things that I thought might be more valuable to people, and I just took them out to my nature strip on any day that was sunny. I made sure I looked at the weather so things didn't get wrecked, but if it was a good day, I went and I put it out the front. The trick with doing this is don't put too much out at one time. If you put heaps out, it looks like a rubbish pile. People don't want to take it. You put out 2 or 3 or 4 things, maybe even 5 things. It looks appealing. People can see what it is and it doesn't look like junk. So if you're going to do this, I highly recommend put a few things out each day. Every day I put a few things out, they would go. The next day, a few things would go. A table, some chairs, a chest of drawers, some baby furniture and bits and pieces, just all kinds of stuff. Baskets and boxes and tubs that were in good condition. I basically put these out on the nature strip. But at the end of that 2 weeks, I still had a huge pile of boxes and several pieces of furniture that people had taken parts of but hadn't taken the whole of, meaning I effectively now had rubbish because they were no good to anybody. Something I find frustrating, but at the same time, if people got the things that they needed, that's what they did. And here's where I had to become a bad person. I had to junk it. I had no way of getting rid of it ethically. I had no way of getting rid of it responsibly. I got rid of as much as I could have responsibly. And I didn't have any options left, and I had to junk. I had to junk things. I luckily had access to a skip that I could put some things into, and I called 1-800-GOT-JUNK, and they came and took the rest away. And I know that they have some good ways of disposing of things, and they, like we had bits of steel and metal and things, and they take those straight to the steel works and stuff, which is great. But I had to basically junk them, knowing full well that once they were taken by somebody else, they could just go into landfill. And that was heartbreaking for me, but I didn't have a choice. But what's better than feeling guilty about that is the fact that now my house is not cluttered with all of that stuff. And there's a thing I learned through Buddhism, which is that you don't get upset when something breaks, because the minute you get it, it's already broken. The idea is that the minute I bought this water bottle, it was already broken. It's destined to break one day. It is not going to last forever. And so if it breaks and I get upset about that, I'm getting upset about something that was inevitable. And there was no promise on it. Just like with all of us, with our lives, we don't know how long we've got. We don't know how long we're here. Like, I could go tomorrow. I could have gone 10 years ago. I could go 10 years from now. But we don't know. The minute something comes into the world, the minute we bring something home, it is already landfill. At some point, it's going to become landfill. Now, yes, I agree with you. I know you're all probably going, but it doesn't have to be landfill now. I completely agree. But one of the biggest problems we have is that we have more stuff than everybody needs. If I have 17 dining chairs, next door already has dining chairs, and next door to that already has dining chairs, and people are going out every day buying more dining chairs. The fact is, if we all took our extra dining chairs outside, there wouldn't be enough people to take them. There wouldn't. There's not enough people to take them, which is why you see all these pieces of furniture on hard rubbish sitting out the front and ending up going to waste. Because the truth of the matter is, there isn't enough people to take the things we need. And sometimes the people who really could use that stuff are so far away we could never get it to them. And a lot of the people who aren't using these things don't want these things. There are plenty of people around the world who don't even use dining chairs. So it's not a matter of sending them dining chairs. They're doing fine without them. They're quite happy. So I listened to a few different things that helped me get through this. And the idea is, basically, as soon as you buy something, it's landfill. It's going to become landfill, especially if it's plastic, especially if it's, junk like this, because people are out buying more stuff every day, all the time. Now, I wish I could stop that, but I can't. But someone is out there buying more of these today, even though I've got 5 of them here. I don't need. Me trying to now find that person is really hard. But when that person wants it, they go to the shop that has it and they buy it. Trying to find it amongst the community is really, really hard. And we're not connected in a way anymore, which makes it easy to pass things on. Not just because of the pandemic. We just don't live in a way that makes it easy to pass on. And I bet if you think about the friends that you have, don't they also have houses filled to the brim of stuff? If all of you brought out all of the stuff that you needed and put it in a big pile, and all of you then took home what you needed, do you think that pile would go away? Because I don't think it would. I think a lot of it is still going to be excessive. So when I say a bad person, I mean, that's what we feel about ourselves. If I throw this in the trash rather than rehoming it and finding that exact perfect place it goes, I am a bad person. The truth of the matter is, you made the investment in picking it up. You took it from someone for free. You picked it up from hard rubbish. You purchased it from the shops, whatever you did. That was the point at which you made that bad choice, not the point at which you're trying to get rid of it. I am not advocating just chucking things in the bin. I still try and rehome as much as possible. But the key is not how we dispose of the things we already have, but how we move forward in our consumption and what we buy. It was heartbreaking to trash that much stuff, knowing that much was going to landfill. But I also did it on purpose, because the guilt and the feeling of this stuff is stuff no one wants. I had garage sale after garage sale. I even had free garage sales where I put everything out the front, and this was stuff people weren't taking. It's stuff people did not want. The reality is, the guilt of throwing all that in the bin and realizing what a waste of money and what a waste of land I've made is changing how I make decisions in the future. And that's the only way I'm going to be able to make lasting difference. And hopefully I can show that to my children and help them to learn too. So I encourage you, I know it's not easy, but living in a house that is full to the brim and affecting your mental health and making you feel stressed is not healthy for you. And I know it's not something we want to do, but the best thing you can do for yourself is find a way right now to get that stuff out of your place. And I hope that I can assuage some of the guilt that you might feel. Thanks so much for listening, guys.